And then there it is, da-da, 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 da, and you're like, oh, da-da, da-da, da-da. I'm so French. It's absolutely incredible. The first film that I remember sort of viscerally was Watership Down. It was a seminal cinema experience. It was a complete devastation. I remember really vividly the blood coming across the fields towards the beginning, and I remember the terror of the fight between, I think it's Fiver and the big rabbit. Like, I could feel it. I could feel all of it. It was an incredibly sensory experience. You know, I was annihilated. It was horrendous. I never wanted to go back to the cinema again. I didn't really have a film or a performance that led me to be an actor. I was a journalist in the industry first, and I ended up falling in love with it that way. And I ended up on film sets. The rhythm of it and that sense of it, everyone working together and everyone hitting a six, it just made me so happy. I did mostly interviews, and I think eventually I just got a bit like, it was a bit like a sweet shop. And I'm sort of pressed against the glass going, I'm going to have to go in there and get a handful of cola cubes. So I gave it a go, and then in one moment I then became incredibly successful. No, it took ages, but yeah, here I am. Strange genesis for an actor. So I've been thinking about what the best film scene ever made is. I don't know if you've seen Lynne. It was an incredible piece of filmmaking from a really young filmmaker at the time. The French cabinet had to have subtitles to watch it because they speak in verlan, which is backwards. And for me, the moment in that film where it just exploded in my heart was the DJ puts a big speaker in the window of the big high-rises. In my memory, he cracks his knuckles and he starts to mix. And he mixes the sound of the police with Je ne regrette rien. And the camera suddenly is free and it flies out of the window, which you're not expecting at all because no such shot has happened in the film to that point. And suddenly you're flying with it, and there's this sort of amazing sense of perspective and freedom, and like you can feel these kids, feel how trapped they are because you are free, and it's amazing. I'm in this film Chuck Chuck Baby, which is a lesbian chicken factory musical. I know, not another one. On the chicken factory sequences, we had a number of women who had worked in the chicken factories themselves. They showed us how to, do it properly. When I saw it for the first time with a big audience, those three women came and they were just having the time of their lives. I sort of looked like that at their faces, and they just went, it was proper magic. And I thought, my God, it's such an amazing metaphor for what the film does. It sees these women, sort of like voices don't get heard, working class women, older women. It sort of sees them. There's an acknowledgement there, and it feels like that film was for them and all the women like them. And so I feel so amazingly proud to have tried my best in a film that made them feel that way. The British film I think everyone should see is Ratcatcher. I mean, where do you start? It is so unbelievably beautiful. There are images in that film that I'll never forget. There's a child wrapping himself in a net curtain. There's cornfields on the top of a bus. I just remember thinking I hadn't really seen anything like this film. I just think she's a genius, and it was so exciting for me also to see a woman director being incredible and trailblazing, and because we're still very short on them. You have to bear with me on this because this is the truth. Years and years ago I saw a snippet of a silent film called Napoleon. Then I saw that it was going to be on at the Royal Festival Hall in 2004, and it was going to be conducted by Carl Davis. And you start to hear these little threads of La Marseillaise, and then it builds. I think it's around 5.5 hours. So you've invested so much in this thing. And then there's this incredible finale, which I'm not going to reveal because it would be absolutely dreadful of me. But it is so incredible what happens at the end of this thing. And then there it is, da-da, 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 da, and you're like, oh, da-da, da-da, da-da. I'm so French. It's absolutely incredible. I've embarrassed myself by choosing that film, but I promise you it means so much to me, and it was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had in a cinema. Next time they do a 5-hour version, get yourself down there. I think I've known the answer to the question which on-screen parents I would like to be raised by since I was 14 years old, because I went to the cinema to see Back to the Future, and when Marty's mum and dad come back at the end, she's smiling and she's got a tennis racket and she's just come in from a game, and it'll be them then rather than at the beginning when I believe she's chain smoking and a bit plump. I mean, I'm not sure about the correlation with a little bit plump with miserable, but you know, there were different times. I've chosen Ida Lupino, who was the first woman who was sort of rubber stamped as a director in Hollywood. I remember seeing like her name on a film a long time ago, going, what? She had a really interesting life. She was an actress and then ended up directing. I think she's the only woman at that point that had ever directed a noir. So I guess I'm in very bold, stark black and white lighting with my collar up if I'm living in the style of her film. This is embarrassing because I've literally posted on Instagram pictures from this film. It's Fitzcarraldo, and I even have the box set. I literally have a DVD of Fitzcarraldo and I haven't seen it. All I know is that they really did take the ship over the top. So I feel terrible that I haven't watched Fitzcarraldo. I'm going to go home right now and put it on my projector, honestly. It was a sort of seminal theatre. I'm going home. Bye. I have to start that again.